Shivoham, Shivoham. 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 Shivoham, Shivoham.
Shuklambaradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayudha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhye.
Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another divine session dedicated to this wonderful principle of life force, the Mahaprana, Sri Hanuman. Let us begin the Yogic Kriyas. We shall begin with the Omkara Kriya. Along with every Om, a lot of air escapes. Please swallow the saliva before your inhalation so it doesn't come in the way of the Kriya. Let's sit up tall and straight. Take a few moments to get our mind focused. When you're ready, let's inhale. And let's go. Inhale and come up. Gently shift your awareness to this part. Stomach. Pull it slightly in. And keep it pulled in throughout. Almost 40 to 50% of your attention should be here throughout the Kriya. So this bandha is in place. It's now in a locked state. Mild, weak lock. So you're able to breathe as well with the chest. When you're done that, inhale. Inhale, come up. Keep this bandha throughout the practice for the next 25 minutes or so. Shift your awareness to the throat. Partially close the glottis. Begin to inhale and exhale using the throat muscles. So you listen to the sound of the breath. It's a very relaxing sound. Sound of the breath is the footsteps. These are the footsteps of Vayu. Listen to these footsteps. Let's inhale. Begin to reverentially, mindfully receive each inhalation. Receive the Vayu element, the divine Vayu, like you receive a god into your temple. And help him carry all the toxins as you exhale. Exhale fully as long as you can, helping him detoxify your body. The secret to health is very simple. Lengthen your exhalations. Constant detoxification takes place automatically. Kaka Shuddhi Kriya, mouth spouted like a beak of a crow, like a bird, or a hose pipe. You're going to breathe in. Powerful exhalation. Carry that exhalation till you can exhale no more. And then you breathe in and come up. All the time, keep your stomach pulled in. All action from the chest. 5 times. Let's inhale. Let's go. Inhale, come on. Do it at your own pace. Listen to your body. Use my pace merely as a reference. When you're ready, inhale. Let's exhale. Inhale and come up. Third one, inhale. Inhale, come on. Next, inhale. Let's go. One last one. Inhale. Let's go. Mindful breathing. Bandha in place, Ujjayi breath in place. Expand the chest. Wonderful. Agnisara, 3 times. You're going to breathe out, hold the breath out, pull your stomach in to perform a full Uddiyana Bandha, and then flap the stomach in and out. Then breathe in and come up. We'll do this 3 times. Flap as much as you can. Loose and relaxed stomach. Inhale. Exhale fully. Once you're done, pull your stomach in and begin the Kriya. Inhale, come up. Second one, inhale when you're ready. Exhale. When you're done, begin. When you practice this for months and years, almost instantly your mind goes into a deep state of absorption. It's so fascinating, especially when you do it on an empty stomach and the stomach goes all the way in. One last one. Inhale. Exhale fully. Sit up tall and straight. Let's carry this mindful meditative practice into Markata Kriya, where you move in rhythm with your breath. Feel the whole universe moving with you and you moving in time with the universal rhythms. Ebb and flow of the waves is a rhythm. The rotation of the planets around the sun is a rhythm. Day and night cycles are a rhythm. Birth and death of stars, galaxies are a rhythm. Everything in the universe is a rhythm. So let your breath flow into that rhythm. Move with the rhythm in Markata Kriya. That's the beauty of this Kriya. Sit up tall and straight. The physical cleansing, all that will happen. But expand your consciousness, become one with the universe. Feel like you're Shiva dancing. Let's begin. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the bandha in place. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to the right. Inhale. Pull your stomach in as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale and twist to the right. Inhale. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Come up. Exhale. Twist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent. Inhale. exhale, inhale, 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 come up, exhale, twist, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Wonderful. 3 more. Inhale, exhale, 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 inhale, exhale. 2 more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Keep the bandha in place. Exhale, all action in the chest. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Wonderful. One last one. Inhale, exhale, 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 inhale, exhale. Couple of rounds of deep mindful breathing with the bandha in place. Observe, listen to the breath. The wind element speaks to you as you breathe. Listen to that language. Tune into his language. All right. Let's get ready for the Pranamasana. For those of you sitting on the floor, go into Vajrasana like we normally do. Today I'll use a bolster, just to show you this option always exists. For those of you sitting on the chair, you're going to crush your lungs fully, so there is no place for your stomach to move, and you're going to use the back of your lungs right here between the shoulder blades. This is where the action is, this part, right here, this part. Okay? All right. Inhale. As you exhale, go down. For others, you can form the mudra, place it next to your navel, go down. Inhale fully. Expand the back of your lungs, the sides of your lungs. Keep your stomach pulled and tight. Breathe out fully. Long, deep inhalations and exhalations. Expand the back of your lungs. Wonderful. Gently inhale, come up. This is another asana and kriya as well, which once again absorbs your mind. Because you enter into that inner space, you become so mindful of the lungs expanding in the back and contracting. You're completely absorbed in what's happening inside. That kind of fine-tuning is what helps us in preventing illnesses. Bandha in place. All right. Let's do the Bhastrika Pranayama. Yesterday I said new moon is in a day. We're still away. I got my dates mixed up. I thought today was June 9th. It's not. We still have 2 days more. Nevertheless, we'll do 10, 15, 10, 15. 4 rounds. In each round we will do 10, 15, 10 and 15. You're going to inhale and a powerful exhalation, all with the bandha in place. Expansion and contraction is of the lungs, not of the stomach in and out. Sit up tall and straight. All right, when you're ready, let's begin. The force is not so much in your muscles as much as it should be in your exhalation. Show the force in your exhalation. Breathe. All right, second round of Bhastrika, 15 times. Do it at your own pace. Don't go for too fast. Let's go. Lengthen your exhalations. Wonderful. Third round of 10 cycles. When you're ready, let's go. Bandha in place. Expand the chest. One last one, 15. Let's go. Mindful breathing. Slowly carry that mindfulness to the subtle breath. The Ramanama Pranayama. Left hand is open to do the Kamala Kriya. As you inhale, you're going to expand. As you exhale, you're going to contract into a fist, like so. Thumbs first, fingers over the thumb. This represents your lungs. This Kriya you can do at any time during the day. Anytime you want to feel calm, just coordinate the movement of your fingers with your breath and watch the magic happen. Simple. The whole body gets into a state of deep focus and attention. You can teach it to children also. Simple. ADHD, inability to focus, simply do the Kriya, Kamala Kriya. Right hand towards your nostril, but before that, keep your neck relaxed, shoulders relaxed, neck bent down, make sure the elbows close to the body. Elbow should not be up like so. Keep it relaxed. Neck bent downwards. Close your left nostril, keep the right open. We still have a couple of days of the right nostril breathing until the new moon. Focus on the inhalation and exhalation ratio. Focus on the volume of air that comes in, the volume of air that goes out. Focus on the sound of the breath as you suck in through the throat. And while your conscious mind is engaged in that, let the Ram Naam slowly enter your consciousness. And through your consciousness, let it connect to the whole universe. And every soul who needs it benefits by that mantra. We are all one in that state. So let the name of Rama join us once again in that great oneness, while the conscious mind and the body is simply engaged in the breath that connects this body to the deep states of consciousness. Let's begin the practice.
Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Inhale. Exhale.
ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी साई महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अलङ्काररूपिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अलङ्काररूपिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी साई महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी आनन्ददायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी आनन्ददायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अमृतवर्षिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अमृतवर्षिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अमृतवर्षिणी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी सीता महालक्ष्मी माता महालक्ष्मी साई महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता महालक्ष्मी अलङ्काररूपिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अलङ्काररूपिणी माता महालक्ष्मी अभयप्रदायिनी माता Mata Mahalakshmi, 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 Mata Sita Lakshmi, Mata Sita Lakshmi, Mata Sai Lakshmi, Mata Mahalakshmi.
Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam. If you're just joining in, we continue this wonderful learning as we study this divine epic, Sundarakand. Today too, we are in this wonderful moment where Goddess Sita speaks to us. And therefore, let us open our hearts and minds and listen with deep attention to what she has to say. So we are continuing reviewing the same verses that we chanted yesterday. So we will not chant any verse today because we still haven't finished the first part of this chapter, the verses 1 to 17. So I had a few more points. So let us go through them. So yesterday, give me 1 second. Is there any disturbance? No? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure. All right. So yesterday we saw how the blade of grass was such an important act by Sita before she even began to speak. And yet her voice was soft and subtle. What was the first thing she said after placing the blade of grass? She said, "Turn your mind away from me. A sinner cannot seek blessings." These are, of course, my own words, but this is pretty much the gist of that verse. Turn your mind away from me. So, as I have always said, these verses have also a very powerful social and moral implication. So I'm not getting into that because that is understood, right? The chastity of marriage, the sacredness of marriage, and the chastity of a woman, and all of that. So that is something which has been well understood for generations and generations and thoroughly explored and exploited. If we stick to that story, then the men who are listening to this say, all right, it doesn't apply to me. That is Sita, it's about ladies and it doesn't apply to men. So Maharishi Valmiki allows us to peel that layer and go a little more deeper and see how does this apply to all, men, women, child, adult, everyone. So that is how we are going to approach the words of Mother Sita. So turn your mind away from me. Haven't we heard this general thing about turning your mind towards God? But here, the Parashakti is saying, turn your mind away from me. So this is truly this next step. You might say, wait a minute, isn't it confusing? First you say, turn the mind towards God. Now she says, turn it away from me. What are we supposed to do? So, take this analogy of a swimming class, if you will. When you take your 3-year-old or a 5-year-old to the swimming class, he wants to learn swimming, he or she. And therefore, you just don't take him and say, all right, boy, learn swimming, and you throw him in the pool. You don't do that, right? What would you do? You take him to a coach who is well versed in teaching children, and that coach will tie little floats on the arms of the children, and perhaps even around the body, to keep the body afloat, right? Those little things that keep you floated. And then teach the child just to enjoy floating. So he says the float is a must. Without that you will drown. So hold on to this float. Make sure it's got enough air inside. That's going to help you keep floating. So at that moment, the float is very important. Now the child has spent 6 weeks, let's say. And then it's time for the coach to now take him to the next level. What do you think he says? Does he say, now go buy a better float, a bigger float? You're going to learn much more things, right? He says, no, take off that float, because that is going to prevent you from enjoying the pool. Now that sounds controversial. Wait a minute. First you said the float was very important and the float is what is going to keep the child floating in the water. Now you're saying remove those floats because that is an impediment? But that's how it is. The very same thing that was at one point helpful becomes an impediment when you are ready to graduate from that level. So the mind initially has to turn towards the divine to help in ideas of, when we talk of controlling the senses, understanding a little more, bringing a more dignity into our lives, a little more control in our lives, not indulging in this and that. So the easier way is to divert your mind towards divinity. So you turn your mind towards divinity and you go that path. But then you'll find that the mind itself becomes an obstacle to understand and receive Parashakti. It cannot receive. The mind can go and take you only to a certain place. When you want to cross that blade of grass and go towards Sita, remember before saying this, she put that blade of grass. If you want to cross that blade of grass and go towards Sita, you have to transcend the mind, which is what we understood as transcending the physicality and all of that. So transcend the mind. One way to do that, she adds the next sentence, a sinner cannot seek blessings. So what does that mean? What is a sin now? Of course, yes, like I said in one layer, Ravana is a sinner. Why? He stole somebody else's wife and he's doing things which are adharmic, unrighteous act and all of that. But then when we go into this layer of understanding, when we want to transcend the mind, and then we come across this word, sinner cannot seek blessings. What is the greatest sin? Sin is a harsh word here, but it is used with a purpose to jolt you actually. But not to tie you down in any guilt. Because papa krita, that's what Sita uses. So she's not playing with words here. She's using that sharp word to waken you up. What is the kind of sin? The sin here is that you and I take the doership of our actions. We become owners of our actions. We become owners of our thoughts. I own my thoughts. I own my actions. And therefore I face the consequences of my action. I and mine. I do the act, these acts are mine, these thoughts are mine, and therefore the consequences also become mine. And in this I and mine, whatever the act is, the act becomes binding in nature. It doesn't liberate you, it becomes binding. If I say I meditate 10 hours a day, I am doing all these good things, all these good, the results of all this good karma is going to come to me, and I pat my back, guess what? I am bound. And in that, I cannot seek the blessed presence of Sita. I cannot cross that blade of grass. Why? Because I own. The I and mine becomes even more powerful at that level. Unless we learn to offer our acts, which is taught in Gita very beautifully, right? Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kanasha. Ma phaleshu. Says, take that Don't worry about the consequences of action. Just focus on the act, so much so that you don't know who's the one who's doing the act. The act becomes more important, not the doer. The act becomes. Ask a painter who's painting. At one level, she will go into this painting, and the painting becomes so important, not her or he, not the hand, nothing. There's no hunger, thirst at that moment. It is just the painting that's come alive. And all that he or she is doing is giving life to that energy that is manifesting on the canvas. Ask a sculptor when he is chiseling a rock and bringing out the beautiful figure that is already inherent in the rock. There are moments where he just becomes one with the idol, and the idol begins to manifest itself, and the sculptor is being used by that idol to bring itself out. So the sculptor is not the doer. It is so in every act. When we become owners of the act, we become Ravana. Ravana is the mamakara. I, me and mine is what Ravana is all about. Right? It is not just one woman. That's an extreme situation given to us for us to consider. Just like Arjuna's extreme situation, kill your grandfather, kill your granduncles, right? So that's an extreme situation. But he's taught detachment and the power of the Atma there. We won't get into that now. But the point here is, turn your mind away from me, because your mind cannot get it. So what do? Give up that ownership. That means the mind ceases. The best way to transcend your mind is to give up the doership. In other words, there are prayers for that, right? It's not an easy thing, okay? Please don't immediately start analyzing, how do I do it? Where do I go? And rub our hands and say, all right, when do I start? It's not like that. One has to deeply understand that every time there is a consequence, whenever I resist something, whenever I'm attracted towards something, in Sanskrit we call it, in Vedanta we call it raga and dvesha. Whenever there is a pendulum swinging back and forth, whenever there is this mood oscillation, the mind oscillates between attraction and repulsion, then know that this is a cause of the doership. That's it. So it is that is the whole process. I mean, if we can just take this, we can cross the blade of grass. So there is a beautiful prayer at the end of every day, Baba would tell us. And we would chant this in the hospital. Kayena vacha, whatever I speak. Manase indriya, whatever I thought, whatever in my senses, everything. Karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayana samarpayami. Everything I offer to the Narayana. Then what happens is, I don't carry guilt. My conscience is clear. I begin to get liberated from my doership. I begin to get liberated from karma and the cycle of karma. Why? Because I have stopped being the doer. Now you might ask, but what about past karma? All that effect will come. Whatever I have acted saying I am the doer, that effect will come, and that's okay. But you don't exist anymore. In other words, the I doesn't exist. The body exists to bear all the consequences. So this is the path to self-realization. The giving up of doership. Why do I need to give up the doership again? Because there is a bigger doer in you. The little I goes away. In this, the little I, the little my, Jesus had to get crucified for Christ to be born. What a powerful lesson that is. Very, very powerful lesson. Right? It is that same concept here. The caterpillar has to die for the butterfly to come forth. Both cannot coexist. Sundar has to die for Sai to be born. It's like that. So that is what it is. How can I express selfless love to everyone, we ask? How can I see God in everyone? Stop being the I. And there is only God. So turn your mind away. A sinner cannot seek blessings. She says very clearly. She's not looking at Ravana. Valmiki doesn't say she looks at Ravana. Nor does he say she looks at the blade of grass. Because there are some people say she's looking at the blade of grass. I don't agree, because I didn't see that in Valmiki's text. She has placed it on the ground. And she's perhaps looking away from him and talking. She said this one statement. Then she comes with another statement. And then she does another body action there, her body language. So this is the first thing, important thing she has conveyed. So much so, be very clear that Ravana hears this. So you and I also hear it. Then the second thing she says, what a fantastic statement. I am from the highest lineage and I am bound to my husband by my devotion. This is proper tradition. What you suggest is unthinkable. It's powerful because, again, moral, ethical implication, marriage, sacredness of the marriage institution, all of that is well established. So this falls right into that place. That is completely clear here. Sita is born of Janaka. She's a fantastic hierarchy of kings, and she's a princess from a great kingdom. She is bound to Rama. She's a chaste wife, and all of that becomes very clear. Let's go dig a little more deeper into that divine meaning. Because avatars don't come and simply live lives like human beings and go away. Every act, every word, every act of theirs is a symbolic and has a lesson for you and I to emulate, if possible. And that's the whole point. In trying to emulate, trying to learn, in trying to absorb that energy, we become an avatar ourselves. So what does she say? I am from the highest lineage. What is the highest lineage? Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha and Prakriti. Yin and Yang. Shiva and Shakti. She comes from that lineage. Shakti is separated from Shiva. That is from there. And she is bound only to Shiva and nothing else. In other words, Purusha and Prakriti are always bound. So when she says, I'm bound to my husband, she is talking of the Atmic principle, the Paramatma, Rama, who is the Purusha. And she being the creative energy, Prakriti. It is like Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and Shakti can never be separated, cannot understand separation. They don't know what is separation. So too is Rama and Sita. Same thing with Radha and Krishna. Same thing with Vishnu and Lakshmi. Lakshmi resides in Vishnu's heart. As we saw in that little video, I try to portray Lakshmi emerging from his heart. That's what it is, right? So she is telling us of the greatest Advaitic principle here. I am one with my Atmic principle, Ram. You cannot think of me otherwise. What you suggest is unthinkable. That is the proper tradition. What is proper tradition? Samprada, she uses the word. So the Sampradaya, the tradition is oneness. Ultimately, oneness is the only tradition I wish, we all wish, right? Everybody follows. Not togetherness, not interconnectedness, but oneness. You and I are one. We are part of one consciousness. We are not separate. We feel we are separate. And that's why you have this chaos that is presented itself as in our consciousness. But the proper tradition is going back to that oneness. And so she tells Ravana that this is what you're thinking is unthinkable. You cannot separate Purusha from Prakriti. Ravana cannot understand similarly as this Ravana cannot understand as well, because in other words, there is a Ravana in me that's saying, I don't know what this means. Okay, let's forget it. It's very easy to give this up and say, I don't know. God will take care of me and go back to our normal life because that seems more sane. This is questioning everything that we do, right? Somebody asked me, if I give up the doership, then what's the point of doing any action? No, that's not the idea. Not give up the action. Give up the ownership of that action. And then you will find that you are doing much better in your action. When there is no I and me, then the action becomes much better. When a doctor performs a surgery and if it's not his kith and kin, he does a good job because there's a basic detachment. His senses are normal, his hands are steady, he's working, he's thinking clearly. But if that was his own daughter fighting for life, then his hands will tremble. He wouldn't take the right decisions. And therefore there's an unspoken hierarchy, I think, where the surgeon doesn't perform surgery on his own near and dear ones. That's the reason, because of attachment. So attachment actually brings down productivity, not helps you become more productive. It brings down productivity. So when you're always focused on what can I get out of this, what can I get out of that, then it is because you're you're comparing your effort versus the gains that you're getting. So you're not putting on your best because you're afraid you may not get that much gain, because you put a price tag to your effort, you put a price tag to your talent. And therefore you say, no, I cannot speak beyond this if you don't pay me this much. So your entire speech and your thought process is going to be limited. By whom? By you. So how can you give your very best? So that's the point. The point here is, get the I out of the way and allow the energy to simply flow and watch it expand limitlessly, limitlessly, limitlessly. That's the beauty of the river. I've seen Baba in action in this, and one only has to live with a master like that to understand what it is. It blew my mind away. It didn't make logical sense at all. But then that was the point. I've learned, and I'm slowly trying to assimilate that. And it'll take lifetimes, I guess, to actually get it. But that's the point. Point is get the I out of the way. So these two fundamental lessons she says, and I think these two are more than enough for us to spend many lifetimes trying to perfect. So she says this, and then she turns away from Ravana. She turns her back to Ravana and speaks the rest. It's almost like, now I don't care whether you are going to listen to me or not. These two important, you had to listen, I told you. And now she turns her back and continues to talk. Because in those days, body language is very important. Even if you don't like a person, when you turn away, it's a show of great disrespect. That you don't care about that person at all. And that person means nothing to you when you turn your back. Even today, to this day, that happens, right? You don't let your child turn your back, his or her back to you when you're talking. You say, look at me, right? Don't we say that? Teachers say that to students, parents say that to children. But Sita wantingly, purposely turns and shows her back to Ravana to show him that if he has not understood these two, there is no way that he can even come near that blade of grass and cross that and come to her. So that was the beauty of that. Then she says, you're not listening to the words of the wise. See, for this whole spiritual realization, she's already told me, I say me because I'm Ravana, I guess. She's already said, turn your mind away. So you can't listen to the mind. The mind has not to be listened at this point. So what is the wise? Who's the wise? The teachings of the scriptures, the intuitive voice, the higher voice within you, the voice of conscience and so on. We don't listen to those anymore. We don't. So she says, you're not listening to the words of the wise. And she says, prosperous countries are destroyed on account of such indiscreet leaders. Lanka will be destroyed because of you. Again, this has a very powerful social implication. We see this, right, in today's world. You might say countries are actually prosperous, they're not getting destroyed. In an economic sense, yes. But the world itself, we have built so many wars. We have destroyed the earth from its original creation. Who's responsible for that? Not the cow or the lion or the elephant. No, not even the dinosaurs. It is you and me. We have treated this earth like as if it belongs to us and we own it. And what did we do? We created barriers, economic barriers, social barriers, and all kinds of religious barriers. We are experts in building walls, not bridges. So if somebody calls that prosperity, then they have a very poor understanding of what prosperity is. Okay, but nevertheless, she says that when you have this kind of attitude, then the countries get destroyed. So that is one level. But when we come to a deeper understanding, this body is that country, this body is that city. This body gets completely destroyed. Because let's look at what happens. We spend our entire life, adult life, most of our adult life, in general, again I'm saying, and I'm making it as an observation. You will all agree with me, this is not a judgment call at all. What do? We spend time accumulating wealth. I guess that's okay. We spend time accumulating wealth. When it's time for us to retire and become old, do we have time to devote to the divine and things? We don't. Why? Because by then, we have the way of accumulation wealth. We have ignored our health so much that now whatever I have earned, I'm going to spend in curing all the diseases also that I've accumulated. And so all my prosperity that I earned is gone, drains away, because this body is actually deteriorating at a much faster rate. So God is nowhere in the picture. My body gets deteriorated. Why? Because in the course of accumulation of that wealth, I completely ignored these basic fundamental principles of a holistic, spiritual, mindful life. Today, it's a matter of choice for all of us, right? And therefore, every young person, everyone in their 30s and 40s, look at the older people, and they don't even for a moment think that when I am at that age, I am going to face exactly the same thing. So what am I doing about it now? It's like we are brainwashed completely. We might think some days, some weeks, a couple of weeks maybe, if somebody passes away, we kind of get drawn into that thought process, and then somehow we get caught up into this current, if you will, of modern lifestyle, and we go back into ruining our health. Not just health, we have no time, we say, for meditation. We say we have no time for yoga practice. We say we have no time for anything. And therefore, when we do this, we become Ravanas. We destroy Lanka by our actions. Which Lanka? This, the body, and all the chakras, and everything goes away. So we miss the chance of a human birth, and we miss that glorious chance of having of how we could have used it for exploring higher dimensions of existence. Alas, we cannot even live this dimension to its fullest extent. So prosperous countries, when we are all born as children, we are all prosperous. Most of us are, right? And that is destroyed on account of such indiscreet leader. In my country, in this body, in this city, Tripura, Pura is a city. In this city, I am the leader. And because of my indiscreet behavior, I destroy my city. And therefore, I can take charge of my body. Let me begin here. Because it's easy for you and I to now sit and say, oh, political leaders, this doesn't apply to me. It applies to political leaders. At one level, yes. But you and I are not spared by Sita. So let us listen to these words. I cannot be lured by your power or wealth. I am inseparable from Raghava, like the light from the sun. Inseparable. The Shakti and Shiva principle, the Purusha Prakriti principle, the Sita Rama principle. The beauty of Rama is because Sa is added to Ra. Sai Rama, Sita Rama. There's a beauty in that mantra. One is warm, one is cool. That's a beauty. It brings health in both sides. The Ida and Pingala gets purified by Sita Rama, Sai Rama. That's a power in these mantras. Okay? You cannot separate the two. I cannot be lured by your wealth and power and wealth. So she spurns all that idea. We can build the most, grand temples. You see that these days, right? $100 million was spent on this temple, and it was all imported from X place to Y place, and all of this grandeur and all of that is beautiful. Of course, it's creativity and all of that. But is Sita going to be lured by that? Is the goddess going to manifest herself because of that grandeur? No. It doesn't mean she wouldn't. I'm just saying that is not the criteria to attract Sita. Look at her. She's barely eating. What is the picture Valmiki is presenting under that Ashoka tree? How is she existing within us? That is what is going to attract us. Simplicity, humility, austerity, being unostentatious, completely going within. Simple and humble Hanuman sitting up there. Even though he is so mighty and powerful, he is going to get the blessings. And we learn that when we come to that part. But we cannot lure God through wealth. We can do all charity and all of that. We can convince ourselves that somehow some God up there is getting pleased. That is all our convictions, and that's fine. If that helps you, fine. But in truth, the real way to please God is not by power or wealth. I am inseparable from Raghava. It is the same concept when she said that I am bound to my husband. The best way to explain this is this analogy of a dancer and the fine art. Among all the fine arts, dance is considered a very powerful medium of divine expression, even better than singing and music. Because in that fine art, pay close attention here, the dancer cannot be separated from the dance. The artist cannot be separated from the art. The art and the artist are one. When the artist is performing, the art exists. When the artist stops performing, there is no art. The art is complete. Right? That is how the dance of Nataraja is. What is Nataraja? The dancing Shiva. This is what it means, that when Shiva is dancing, Shakti is predominant. That means in his dance lies creation. When he stops dancing, there is no creation. So you and I are part of that Shiva's dance. Because he is dancing, you and I exist. He stops, the dance stops. So you cannot separate the dance from the dancer. That is what she's saying. I'm inseparable from Raghava, like the light from the sun. You cannot separate the light from the flame. You cannot separate. How beautiful that these concepts are. This can hold your mind for hours in deep meditation, because this is the truth. That there is an inseparable, that idea of oneness. This is where it comes from. And therefore, this idea of Sundar getting liberation or Sundar reaching God is an illusion. Is an illusion Sundar is holding on to till one day. When will he realize God? Till the day he realizes. The day he realizes he's never been Sundar at all. Sundar was just a little role that he was playing. It was not him. The I in him will know that it was always Paramashiva or Rama, whatever we want to name at this point. That's the idea here. Sundar is not going to get enlightened. Sundar was never there, is, never will be. Is a role that an I within is playing. And that I is also the dance of Shiva. It is all ultimately you and I. We are all Shiva expressing himself. That's all. You might say, okay, then why do we have to do anything? Why not just let things go by? If you realize, that's what you would do. You would let everything go by. Will you let your house go by, your car go by, your relatives go by, your family go by? And will you let your food go by? Will you let everything go by? No. So we are not there yet. It's a philosophical understanding, a theoretical understanding. But for that to translate itself into an experience, because ultimately when you attain that Jivan Mukti, the liberated while alive, Patanjali says, then you won't even worry about the body. Because you have already merged into the ocean. You become Paramatma and the body slowly withers away. So Paramahamsa Yogananda was a great example. When he died, 21 days his body was there and then it perished. Because he had merged. Because that's exactly how the scriptures portray the Jivan Mukta's death. So she says, I cannot be lured by your wealth. And the last one, she says, I am the wisdom of the Vedas that belong to a Brahmin, knower of the self, who has acquired this wisdom to great austerity and reverence. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not some idea of caste and Brahmins are somehow more powerful than other people in the caste. The last 2,500 years, we have destroyed the sacred tradition of Sanatana Dharma by this idea of caste.
It all happened because of history. It all happened because of occupation. Everybody went into their homes and started preserving whatever little they knew. And then it became the father who knew the Vedas taught his son, the son taught his son. And therefore it became a lineage on its own. And people just thought, I have to be born in that family to learn Sanskrit, or I have to be born in that family to learn Vedas. Because it was such a treasure. Because India was being looted, right? All across. Every temple was being destroyed. Every village was being ransacked. Women were being raped left, right, and center by hundreds of hordes of Mongolians and Mughals and all of that. So how do you preserve this? It was all up here, the Vedas. And so it was traditionally passed, carefully passed from person to person to person to person. So there's a meaning in that madness. But then what happened is, with all that occupation going away, we still continued that. We didn't know how to break that and come out of it. And therefore, this society, unfortunately, began to get divided into different castes. And everybody said, unless I am born from this, I am somehow higher than you. It is not never like that. A Brahmin is one who seeks knowledge, one who lives by that knowledge, one who teaches that knowledge, one who shares that knowledge. He does not work for money, he does not do anything. That's a Brahmin. One who says, I'm just working for pay, I'm working for wages, whatever it is. He could be a school teacher, he could be a priest in a temple. If he is working for wages, he is what is we call the labor class. The labor class or the Shudra class is one who work for wages. Not doing anything. They just say, give me wages, I will work. So they just work. The Kshatriyas are the ones who go and fight for the country, protect the women folk, protect the children. The Vaishyas are the one who provide, bring in economic and all of. So the society was performing in a very wonderful manner. This kind of understanding was never even to this day can be traced where it said you have to be born in that caste. So when Sita talks about Veda, she's saying one who knows the self is a Brahmin, and if he has acquired that knowledge through great austerity and reverence, then I am like the wisdom of the Vedas that belong to that Brahmin. Not simply scholarship, not philosophers, not somebody who simply memorized and are good in grammar and phonetics and all of that. This is knowing the self. That is the power of Mother Sita's words. So we will take the next half tomorrow. Let's end this with the Hanuman invocation and Hanuman Chalisa. Let us invoke the divine Hanuman from within our consciousness, who has been quiet all these days, listening to Mother Sita, hiding in the leaves of the tree. Let's invoke him. Om Bhuh Purusham Shri Bajranga Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Bhuvah Purusham Shri Maruti Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Suvah Purusham Shri Chiranjeevi Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Purusham Shri Ramaduta Hanuman Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami.
गोकुर सुधारी बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसु जोदायक फल चारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरा पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे हरहु कलेश विकार राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिता जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि को विद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जोजन पर भानु लियो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के देते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे देते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हाँ बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होए सिद्धि साकी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महाडेरा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। जय श्री राम। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। ओम शांति शांति शांति।